will be giving a presentation. The purpose of the speech that she's giving is to provide a 3 to 5 minute briefing to explain or report on a topic. A 2 to 3 minute question and answer session will follow the presentation from audience members. The title of the talk is The Origin of Toastmasters. Alice.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. Tonight, I just want to give you a glimpse into the whole purpose of maybe why we're here tonight in terms of Toastmasters. I was researching Toastmasters because someone asked me at work, how did that ever come into being? Well, let me provide you just a little bit of background. In 1870s, a gentleman was born named Ralph Smedley, and he was actually born here in Illinois, and he went on to college in Bloomington Normal at Illinois Wesleyan. And he was interested in a lot of different subject matters, but theology was one of them. So when he graduated college, he looked for a job, perhaps that he could instruct others. And he chose not to go into missionary work or into the church work, but he decided he would get a job within the YMCA. And he took on a job as educational director. And he was chosen to work in California. And this is around 1930s. He noticed that there were a lot of men coming back from the war, and they did not have a lot of skills in order to get a job. So he set up in the basement in Santa Ana, California, a group that was going to teach others how to give the art of speaking. And in order to do this, he took the more educated, more people that had been out in the workforce. He made them the teachers, and he made the other people learn from them. So it was kind of, there were the people that were presiding, and then there were also the people that were learning. So this was actually, they decided they would evaluate short speeches. And this was kind of the mechanism that Toastmasters came about. And they decided they would concentrate on leadership and also the development of speeches. So those are the two areas that he thought the young people needed the most help with. So this club, this Toastmasters Club, actually grew from this. And in the 1960s, there were enough clubs located throughout the U.S. that it spread overseas. And it began in England. So by 1941, Dr. Ralph Smedley actually left the YMCA's, and he decided he was going to run Toastmasters International. So the three basic principles that he wanted to get across was he wanted to say, this group, you need to just keep it very simple. You need to concentrate on the fundamentals of public speaking. That's the most important thing. The second thing he believed in was that you need to do it yourself. You have to have a little bit of imagination and intuition, but anyone can become a public speaker. He also thought that if you had a belief in yourself, a belief in the individual, that you could work hard to get that belief across, and also you could apply those skills to helping someone else. So although he passed away in 1965, there are now close to 4 million people that have been in a Toastmasters Club. So just to give you a little background or the demographics of who belongs to Toastmasters today, which I was kind of curious to know about, there are roughly 14,000 clubs of Toastmasters throughout the world now. And 85 of them are here in the US, and there are 5,800 internationally. I was just kind of curious, do you think there are more men or more females that belong to Toastmasters?
Men.
Women. Actually, it's just barely. It's 52% women and 48% men. So it's equally diverse. The income level is actually quite high for those who belong to Toastmasters. A third of the people who belong to Toastmasters are probably in the upper 10% of the incomes. They make over $100,000 annually. And half of the households make over $50,000. It's an interesting fact, which I didn't know. And the level of education is 74% of us that belong here actually have a bachelor's degree, but there's actually a very high number, 1 in 3, that have a master's or a doctorate. So that's something to think about when you're kind of explaining Toastmasters clubs. So tonight I just wanted to say, this is a nice club that we have here, but when you start to look internationally, I think you can realize the club has been successful for a lot of different ways, and we're really lucky to be Toastmaster members. So that's just kind of a glimpse of Toastmasters. Does anybody have any questions?
The question, did I understand you correctly to say that there are only 85 Toastmaster clubs in the United States?
No. I was saying 8,500. There are 14,000 clubs.
Okay, 8,500 in the United States.
So it's really spread internationally. I think people think of it as a club that started here in the U.S. But I think, and also, having the last competition in Malaysia, I think that really says, this club is growing and it's definitely much more of an international presence.
Thank you.
Yes.
You mentioned that the incomes of Toastmasters are typically fairly high. How does that compare in other countries that are less affluent than the U.S.? For example, in Africa, where the average income is considerably lower, do you know if the dues are the same? Like, how does Toastmasters work in areas where 100,000 is unheard of?
That's a good question. I got all of my statistics from the Toastmaster website, and I thought that they would provide kind of more information on the international population, but they didn't. They concentrated mainly on the U.S. itself. So, Ken?
Yeah. It's one of those questions. So you said that Toastmasters members are affluent. Does that mean by being a member of this Toastmasters, I'm going to get more than a little tiny raise? Like a real
Now, if I were directly correlating this to that, I just have to say that perhaps my reading into that is that more intellectual people find this club stimulating, and perhaps they've been successful already. But can I guarantee success and you'll get an next raise? No, I cannot. So thank you very much.